if you have your medical marijuana license,
Yeah, buddy, you got that recommendation.
yeah, head over to TrueLeave. It's our medical marijuana dispensary partner. And if you get an order from TrueLeave, Daniel, tell us about some stuff.
Well, I like, they've got all kinds of different products, but one of the ones that I really like for anxiety, but it also gives you a little energy, is a thing called Sunshine Haze. Mm. It's in their more recreational, even though they can't do rec in Florida yet, but it's in their more of their THC heavy type of category, and it's great. It doesn't give me anxiety jitters or anything like that.
Yep.
It's good for managing pain, and if you've got some stomach issues or back pain like I do, it can be very beneficial. But again, you'd have to go there and talk to the fine folks at TrueLeave because they'll walk you through the entire process.
Yep, absolutely. And then if you make a purchase at TrueLeave, any Florida location, we have a promotion going on in July where if you make an order, you can go, it's on the BDM page or on the front of tomanddan.com. There's a little form you could fill out. You put your address. You put a picture of maybe your receipt or the stuff that you bought. Just prove to us you went to TrueLeave, and then we will send you a free gift courtesy of TrueLeave and Tom and Dan.
Indeed. We want to do more and more of that as this relationship grows.
Yeah,
so.
but we got really nice TrueLeave trucker hats with some other Tom and Dan stuff thrown in there, and that package will come free to you to your house, and all you have to do is fill out that form with some proof that you went to TrueLeave. And that's
Indeed.
all we're asking you to do, and it helps us, and you get a free gift.
Yeah, and let's just be a true leaver.
Yep. It's TrueLeave.com. Check them out. Welcome back to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. For all things show related, you can check out tomanddan.com, and we broadcast live every single day on Twitch, twitch.tv/TomandDanLive, or you can go to YouTube and check out any replays that we have just by simply searching Tom and Dan Live. Now, Samantha set this up, and I think this is super duper cool because quite possibly one of the most talented, I think, families that I think I've ever sort of researched a little bit about, and we know a guy, a local comedian named Simon Nash. He's been in here before, and Simon's on the line right now via Skype. Simon, thanks so much for joining us, man.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Now, his brother, and I didn't know this until a couple weeks ago, he throws up a video and then just very nonchalantly and very coolly says, hey, check this, maybe share it, check out my brother's, video, not to me, just in general.
Yeah.
And I go and I click on the video, and it's really good.
Yeah.
And Sam and I are like, oh, yeah, okay, gladly we'll share this. And then he said, yeah, that's just my brother. Oh, yeah, and by the way, my dad is, and then I did a little digging. Yeah, my dad, happy Father's Day. He's, he's a professor, of like religion, super smart. And I'm a super hilarious comedian. And this is just my brother who works with T-Pain and just happens to be a rapper and really awesome. I guess my first question just out of the gate is, how the hell, like, you guys are like a powerhouse of like super smart individuals, and I mean, can you tell me, Simon, and your brother's there with you, and I'm going to make Tom say his name so he messes it up. Cheo Nash is there. How did you go from like the family that, has the professor dad to the family that now has professor dad, rapper son, and hilarious comedian son? How does that go down?
Childhood trauma. Yeah. I don't know. And you'd think I'd be more successful because I got most of mine from him.
And it's just so funny, too, because we're seeing both of you guys, sitting there and hanging out, and it's like how much, because you said, Simon, your brother is super funny, and I believe it by watching the video. And you can go out there and check out the video now. Just search Cheo Nash and then search Louis Loafers. It's a great track. The video's amazing, and I'm assuming you play how many different versions of yourself in the video, Cheo?
I think it's 7.
But you can tell he's funny. And
a lot of changing outfits.
Yeah, and you can tell he's funny and charismatic. So it's just I don't mean to use the adjective weird, but I am sort of impressed when I see knowledge and smart seemingly trickle down to children, because I have a daughter and I would like to think that she's gonna be smart like her mom, but I don't know.
There's a chance. It's a coin flip.
Yeah, there is definitely a chance.
I wanted to ask you guys, because with the whole COVID thing, obviously it's affected everybody,
and that's the number one reason why I wanted to talk to both of you, because I know that both of you are in entertainment.
Yeah.
It's not a real good time to be releasing songs and doing stand-up. I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, and they say it's affected everybody, but if you're the CEO of Home Depot, it's affected you.
Yeah, you're fine.
Actually, it's possibly...
Someone's making a gang of money right now.
Yeah.
Uber Eats is doing fine.
Yeah,
Right.
if you're Jeff Bezos, you just added a couple extra $100 billion to your fortune,
And then asking people to donate.
Yeah.
Weird move.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
So, but as
You have all the money. What are we going to donate?
Right?
Yeah, you could donate to yourself, I guess.
But for you guys who make your living, in the entertainment business, and it really depends on crowds to see you perform. What's the pivot for you guys? Is there a pivot? Are you guys just waiting it out? Do you have a plan?
Well, I was actually on tour opening for T-Pain, and we did a Mardi Gras show, and then I got the call that the rest of the year was canceled.
It was a college tour, right?
Yeah, it was all college tours.
Cheo, I don't know you, man, and I'm glad I'm really happy to meet you, but that breaks my heart to think that somebody that's been working this long at music is working with T-Pain. Everybody knows that name. Sorry, I almost cursed there. Everybody knows that name. And then you're doing your Mardi Gras show. I'm only in my creative mind. I'm imagining that the show goes well. It's awesome. You get that phone call, and then you realize that the whole thing, somebody just put a pin in the balloon. Mm-hmm. What were you feeling at that time? And how do you even kind of pull yourself out of that?
I feel like I keep myself in such a state of everything's gonna go negative.
Yeah.
So this is not the first tour that's been canceled for me. It wasn't anyone's fault. I've been through this before, and I just put my merch site up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, please plug said merch site. So if we have any listeners,
CheoNash.com, CheoNash.com.
Yeah, CheoNash.
It may surprise you to find that a 31-year-old rapper who's been in the game for 11 years with face tattoos is no stranger to disappointment.
Yeah.
I have. It's not the first check that didn't come through.
Yeah. But it's I'm sure you guys have talked about it, and what do you think? I know it's impossible to even predict.
Well, it changes every day.
Yeah.
We thought we were pulling out of it, right? I mean, we all kind of did, and look at where we are even right now.
So do you think that it can get back to semi-normal, where you can start performing in front of crowds? Are you just waiting it out and seeing what happens?
The people who book Pain are about as official as it gets. And so they're rescheduling stuff, but at first it was till October, and like you said, it changes every day.
Yeah.
And now it's looking more like next year, but live music isn't going to go anywhere in the long term. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm looking long run. I can't imagine live music is done.
No.
So we're kind of it's kind of waiting it out and figuring out how you can still be progress or still progress while this is going on.
Yeah, 100%. I wanted to kind of ask you guys, kind of piggybacking on Daniel's original statement about your dad being a professor, because we're both dads.
You can pick his books up on Amazon, dude. That's no joke. This is a talented, legit.
That's a cool story, actually.
Yeah, no, please. Tell us a little bit about it.
The book is called Reading Race, Reading the Bible, and he was was it ancient Semitic languages? He has
doctorate from the University of Chicago is from ancient Northwestern Semitic philology, which is the study of ancient Aramaic and ancient Hebrew.
He's the smart one.
Yeah, the only reason I know Aramaic would be because of the Passion of the Christ. That is.
Our dad was a sucker for great but bad action movies, right? So. We went to see the original Mummy with Brendan Fraser, not the Tom Cruise one later on.
Yeah.
Who knew that Brendan Fraser would be much better than Tom Cruise?
Right?
At least one action role.
Right.
But we're sitting there watching one of the worst action movies of all time, and our dad is enjoying all the cheesy, cheeky fight scenes, but also retranslating the Aramaic for us, letting us know they got that wrong.
Wow.
I like that though. That's like
Probably one of 12 people in the world that would even catch on to that.
yeah. Oh, that's such a difficult language. The only thing I know
If
about
they could, they probably wouldn't be watching The Mummy.
Right,
yeah, you're right.
right, and the only thing I do know about that language is how incredibly difficult it is. So if he's top tier on that, that's no joke.
Well, and I have a question about your dad because, like, me and Daniel are dads, and I want to believe that I would be completely open-minded to my sons doing whatever they wanted to do to make them happy. But if, honestly, both of them came to me and, like, one of them's like, I want to be a stand-up comedian.
No, this is your situation. This is why I booked this, is because you have two boys. Here we have two sons, and they're both...
I'm going like Tommy wants to be a stand-up, Max wants to be a rapper.
That's about right.
I would honestly tell them, like, you could do that. It's going to be really, really tough because those are hard businesses to break into, and a lot of it is you have to grind for so long to be, like, it's going to be rough.
Nothing but repetition.
To get into this business. Now, I would support them. I want to believe I would, but I probably would honestly try to talk them out of it just because I was like, man, the chances of you making money and being successful are so difficult. You guys know that in this industry, in the entertainment business. So, but was your dad like that, or was he 100% supportive? Did he have a conversation like, this is going to be rough, or he's like, hey, do what makes you happy?
Back to that story. I'm kind of scatterbrained, but to my first guitar, he bought me the book. I was helping him do the research, so I would run the stacks in the library at the college he was working at.
Yeah.
And for like finding all the resources for the book, he bought me a guitar, my first guitar.
That's cool.
So he was always, honestly, super supportive.
Yeah.
Super supportive.
And you are too, though. So you it's funny because he's big talking a little bit. I hear him say, "I'd like to think I'd be supportive, dude. I guarantee you're going to be supportive. But you have no choice. You love your kids."
I would just warn him how hard the business is. Did he, I mean, you guys know how hard it is to come up in this business.
Yeah.
Like,
well, Simon, let's like pivot to you a little bit. How are you handling like not having shows to do as a stand-up comedian, as something that you do? By the way, I have to tell you, the chat room just exploding with people that love you and love your stand-up. So you've made a really big name for yourself in that world, and people really do enjoy it. But what do you do now? Is Zoom gonna pivot? Is that gonna work for people? Because I've had comedian buddies of mine say they'll never do it.
Well, I mean, basically now, as far as comedy goes, since COVID, I started drinking at 1. Unless I wake up earlier.
Right.
Watch a lot of Brockmire on Hulu. Love that program. No, I mean, basically, all the people that are doing Zoom shows that are successful are people that had huge national names for themselves already, right? And most of the time, I, as a lover of comedy, am not even interested in those. So I don't really see a platform for myself to put a Zoom show out there.
Gotcha.
Now, I've done some open mics that are like pretty much exclusively comedians, kind of workshopping material with each other. I've got a buddy who writes for a little web series for like a bigger name out in New York.
Nice.
That I've done some like spitballing, and sadly, I'm his most approachable black friend. So he's come to me for some advice about how to appropriately approach the whole black. Well, what do you think about everything that's going on right now?
So I think I messed up, man. What you?
I'm sorry. But
yeah, it's talking to friends. It's workshopping material that you're really excited to get out there once you can get back on stage. But even the people that are, paying their, $3,200 a month rent in LA doing stand-up comedy, they're hurting and they're barely making ends meet on Zoom shows.
Yeah.
It's
incredibly difficult and saddening to see so many people have to, I talked to somebody, and I'm not going to say who it is, but I was talking to somebody, and who's trying to pop in?
We got another.
My God!
Oh, it's your daddy.
Peter Nash.
No, but it was just funny to think that I've had a comedian friend tell me, lost everything I've worked for, and that
It's heartbreaking.
It is. It's heartbreaking, and I just want to like do as much as I can to help anybody that's in entertainment and needs the help right now. I mean, we're still scared, but we're lucky in the fact that we get to just show up to this room and talk into microphones. Whether people listen or not doesn't really matter. We have our routine and we duck down, you know. So
well, going back to the music industry, I mean, we've talked to countless musicians and rappers, and you know, we've talked about how the entire industry over the past decade or so has pivoted to you primarily make your money doing live shows and concerts, and the album sales are just, you know, obviously not there anymore. But with this, I wonder if as a society we could start supporting more album sales because there is no live entertainment. I wonder if people would do that. Like if we as a society could be like, all right, well, let's pay for the music. Let's go back to, you know, buying albums and supporting artists that way instead of and buying tickets through concerts and things. You know, you think that could happen?
Oh, you cut out, so we don't know what you asked. But we got to,
but definitely.
I know I was right. I know it.
Oh God!
No, basically, you know, he was saying, I'll sum it up because if I let him do it again, we'll never get out of here. Do you guys feel that the pendulum for like album sales might swing back, and that we as a community, like I know I feel obligated to go to Bandcamp, to go to the artist website and buy their music now. That's what I do now because I know it's one of the only ways that I can put money in your pocket. Do you think that will come maybe back a little bit?
I think so. I think depending on your fan base, I think if you're like the Flavor of the Week artist, you're kind of totally screwed. But if you have like real fans that like really support you, like I have, like my song right now isn't on like the purchasable streams just because of the sample in it.
Right.
But how can I? People ask me all the time. You know what I mean? So then they buy shirts even if they don't want them and stuff. So I think it depends on the quality of your following.
Yeah. It all comes down to engagement, and that's what Tom and I talk about all the time.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, every artist has their super engaged supporters that have followed their career and support everything they do. And I mean, we do it with BDMs. Like the BDMs, our subscribers are the lifeblood of our show, and they're the ones that honestly are the business. So it's like as long as we have those, and it's probably like like that with you. As long as you have your core of super supporters, then you will be fine with whatever you do as long as they follow you, right?
Yeah, and you got to be like, you know, what's that Bruce Lee quote? You got to be like water. You got to like adapt, like, you know, with.
Nope.
They're dead.
Nope, we lost them.
Did we finally? I think we did. Oh, they're trying to reconnect. This is the new world we live in, guys. Welcome to Skype calls and interviews with people because of stupid viruses.
Now, also, it either works perfectly
I know.
or it's shoddy at best. And I don't know what it is. It's like, what is happening here?
Technology is terrible.
Well, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna throw it out. Oh, there. I think we got him back. Can you guys hear?
We got you now.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, go with that.
Like, okay, before it does it again, once again, if people want to buy a T-shirt, buy some music to help out, Cheo, what's your? Where can people get at you, follow you, and get your music? Because I'm really jazzed to have one more person that does good hip hop that we can play on the show. So where can people find your music?
CheoNash.com. CHAYO.
There you go. And Simon, if you can hear me. Where could our listeners go to possibly? Oh no! Oh no! Dope.
What?
Dope.
What's a mummy just popped up? I'm like, oh, it's happening.
Oh, I don't think that one. Oh yeah, there's the one. Oh, okay. Well.
Just search for the Simon Nash on Facebook.
There you go, the Simon Nash. Sam, you might want to fire off an email to them and let them know we might be having a dead spot in the old Baldwin Parks today.
I would scream about like Skype not working, like the phones usually.
Oh, I'll do it
don't,
right now. How would you rate the quality of this call?
Oh, terrible.
1 star.
Can you give a 0?
No, you can't.
I could not
But
hear any sounds.
I always expect it. Like every time we do these, I'm waiting for it to
freeze up.
freeze up.
Yeah.
It is. It's anxiety for me. What?
It
Did you
is.
see me sweating?
Yeah,
And it's.
yeah.
I'm not sweating because I'm uncomfortable talking to people. I can talk to anybody. I'm sweating because as soon as I fired it up, I looked at him and we get him in, and I'm like, I'm going to lose this, aren't I? I'm going to lose this.
And then there's always that when these things happen and the person starts breaking up, like they start telling you something and then it starts breaking up. But you don't want to jump in and be like, I can't hear you.
Right.
Because you're like, maybe it'll last for like just split second and then it'll go back to normal and we could just, why stop it and be like, something, and then but then there's a time period. I was like, it's gone too far.
And I didn't even get a chance to have you say the name of Cheo's new song because I wanted you to say Louis Loafers. And I was going to be so happy instead of Louis Loafers.
I could say Louis Loafers.
Yeah, but if you saw it written out,
would have read it.
You would have read it Louis Loafers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You would have said Louis, like
yeah.
Louis Vuitton.
Oh, yeah.
I bet my life on that.
Yeah.
He would have said Louise.
Yeah.
Louise Loafers.
Too many vowels in there.
Good. It's the Simon Nash?
Yes.
Yeah, just search for that. But I want to help these guys out. Like if you're like a comedian and you got something to push, you got a new CD, you got a video that maybe you made and COVID is attacking it and you're not able to get it out, well then email me or Sam or Tom. Like I'd love to talk about it because Yeah, well, we were just actually plugging you guys.
Yay! Yeah. So this is my phone now.
Oh, that's good. That's actually better.
Yeah. Good. Great. Yeah. So you know how.
Please buy my shirts. I'm starving.
Yeah. You know how when you're on the desperately trying to buy a Cheo Nash hoodie and it just keeps cutting out, so you finally just turn off Wi-Fi and use your data.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that all the time. Wi-Fi is not reliable. But guys, CheoNash.com and the Simon Nash, if you want to. Simon, how could people support you? Because that's where I kind of broke up.
Oh, yeah. My Cash App is Pay Simon Now.
There you go.
I have feet. That's pretty much all I got to offer right now. And really great taste. I can do some really solid Netflix, Hulu recommendations. Been watching way too much of all of that.
Yeah, there you go. Well, guys, thank you for the time. I'm sorry the connection wasn't better, and we look forward to checking in with you soon. We're going to play some of Cheo's music. I'm excited about that. And, hey, good luck with everything. We'll check back in with you, hopefully, and get you in here when all of this, I don't know. I don't even like saying blows over because I don't know what is supposed to happen. But when things get a little better, we'll have you in.
All right, guys.
All right. Take care, guys. See ya.
See ya.
That is Simon and his brother Cheo Nash. Super talented cats.
See, I want to believe that whatever my sons would want to do, I would just be 100% supportive. But I think, because I do this to Crystal and to everybody, you guys know, where
you crap on all my dreams.
Yeah.
Mine too.
I ass on people's dreams.
He doesn't even let you say your dreams because you're a woman.
Because I have a hard time betting on the long shot.
Yeah.
And so because
Which is
of
ironic because I'm being serious now. It's ironic you would say that because you're a bit of a long shot.
I know, but
right? I'm being serious. I mean, it's like, here's a guy that
you didn't take the safest route.
Yeah, you were completely shy.
No
Your
route.
friend said there's no way you would
No
do talk
route.
radio. Your friend said there's no way you do talk radio. They never saw you wanting to be in that thing. So you go into it.
Yep.
Not only do you do radio, but you do it at the highest level and successfully. Then you start your own company and it's successful.
Yeah, but this wasn't my dream. I you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't set out to do this. That I think that my dream was to be super professional stuntman, Travis Pastrana, that kind of thing.
Well, in that case, you failed.
Yeah.
I didn't work towards that because I was like,
This is bad.
That's unlikely. I can barely ride a dirt bike. So I think you need to learn how to do that first. Anyway.
When you put it that way, yes.
But you can also barely talk and read, and you're a broadcaster.
But I didn't want to do this. It just happened. I'm like, oh, you're
barely
do it
talk. can barely read.
Yeah. I didn't
has
even-
no emotion.
I got into
Only speaks in like weird, like this is the logical thing to do. You know, like
Bad at business, but owns a business.
I just got into talk radio because I wanted to promote my Counterpart stunt DVD, and then
where your friends are using mustard bottles in their behinds.
and then
I have
I was
that DVD.
I was too
Don't watch
awkward to tell everybody that I don't want to do this for free anymore, and then I just stayed there forever. Here I am now.
I will say now. Tell me what you tell me what tell me what you think about me. Then I set
What?
out to do this.
Yeah.
Exactly this.
Yeah.
Like this is exactly.
But you have
Well,
the
no,
talent.
this isn't. This isn't exactly. Radio was exactly what I wanted to do, talk radio. And I did exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't realize, though, that I wanted to do this more than I wanted to do radio.
Yeah, true. But I
Well, I'm on the
now,
radio now, but you understand what I mean.
right.
I didn't know a young Dan Dennis,
Oh,
but
you wouldn't have liked him.
I imagine that you
No, that's
were
pretty good.
as talented then as you are now. So it's
Probably
like
better.
So it's like
Younger brain.
If a 16-year-old Adrian Peterson was like, "I'm going to play in the NFL," I'm like, "Yes, you can."
Oh, well, that's a nice compliment, but like, no.
But no, I'm just saying there's people that, and then maybe their dad saw the talent that they had.
My dad
and,
never never
pushed
supported me.
towards that,
And that was one of the that was one of the last things. Like as he was dying, I looked him in the eyes and I said, "I'll show you. I'll show you." And he took his last breath, and then he whispered in my ear, "You'll be nothing."
and maybe
That's not true. None of that's true.
And maybe it's stupid for me to even because the fact that they are successful at what they do probably means that their dad saw the potential for them to be successful and therefore supported them. Like, so if you see your kid and you're like, this kid is not funny, and you know, like maybe then you try to push them towards a different way. But they saw,
Well,
maybe
hopefully-
saw. But how can you see?
No, but there's another part there. Hopefully, your kid's smart enough to know what he's good at, and he's not going to hitch his wagon to something that's going to be constant disappointment, right?
But we've seen, like, okay.
How about just raise a well-rounded child, let them try everything, see what they
Yeah.
like.
That's
see
what it
they're
sounds like
good at.
Simon and Cheo's dad did. It
Yeah.
sounds like he
Yeah,
was
just
super
let 'em go
smart,
where
and
they
he's
go.
like, I spend a lot of time with them. I talk to them. I communicate.
Get to know your kids, see what they're into.
They say stuff to me. I say stuff to them.
You're
I
right.
spend time
Support
with them. And plus, it didn't hurt that the guy sounds like he has a baller, badass mega IQ.
yeah.
And when you have
Which
that,
Simon's got his
he's
comedy
a-
is super smart.
Yeah,
so.
he's a real. Both you could just tell when you're seeing
Yeah.
both those guys. They're both super duper smart.
So yeah, I guess you're right. It's probably a
And
combination.
newsflash
of,
for you, I think both of your boys are super smart. I think they're smarter than you.
They'll be fine.
Although, God, okay, what I'm terrified is the person, and we've met them before. They want to get into an industry, or they have these goals that is like, I would bet a lot of money against you being successful at what you want to do, because it's like I just don't see it now. There's a reason why there's so many people that say once they're famous, like, this person never believed in me. So there's
Right.
there's always someone that looks at what your goal is and says, like, that's not going to achieve.
Let me
You're
ask
not
you
gonna
this
achieve
then.
that. But
I can help
there's
you.
so many people that don't achieve
Right.
being entertainers that you kind of lean towards that, like you're not going to succeed. Right? The vast majority don't succeed.
Let me throw this at you, and you tell me where this lands, because I know we like kicking these sort of things around. So, okay, my mom, professional musician, went to school for music. Not a lot of money in that, right? I loved music, wanted to do that, went and started studying percussion and was working my way up.
Yeah.
My job, my dream job, now I didn't lie to you earlier, but when I was really young, what I wanted to do is to be like a professional musician, and to make that my life, kind of like my mom, right? But my mom did tell me, she didn't discourage me, but she certainly didn't encourage me. She was more real about, well, if you want to do that, that's fine. But I'm here to tell you that there is no money in it.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult and very competitive and hard to navigate. If that's what you choose to do, then that's great. But I'm also going to tell you that I would prefer that maybe you look at something that would be easier to prop up a family or provide for yourself, right?
Yeah.
So she did that. She kind of real talked me.
Yeah.
And it did push me in more of a radio direction because I certainly didn't want to be the guy. I'm pretty realistic about my skills. I'm a good drummer. I'm a good musician. I don't think personally that I'm good enough or even have the passion enough to be a professional musician.
Yeah.
I might have the talent, but I'd prefer to listen to the music, not necessarily work every day woodshedding my chops and getting better. That's not me.
And you're right when you said passion. I often forget, if you don't have the passion for anything that you do, you're most likely not going to be successful.
It'll fizzle out.
So it's like
That's why Samantha's podcast is doing so well.
Yeah.
It's 100% a passion for her and her hubby, and that's why it's
yeah.
so dialed in. You can feel it.
You could take the funniest guy that doesn't want to do a podcast and then be like, hey, do a podcast. It'll be popular.
They do it.
Yeah, they do it. I've heard some.
Hopefully this doesn't get cut out, but Ron Burgundy, sorry.
Yeah.
I can hear the lack of passion.
Well, that's corporations trying to force something because they're morons.
But it wasn't. That was
not what they wanted.
Who listens to that?
No one.
We need to find the person. That listens to it.
Can you play the latest episode? We're on iHeart, so we can.
I
play
don't think we're allowed, are we?
Yeah, we're allowed.
They own it. We can play it.
I don't think that that particular show was ever organic.
No.
That was
100% manufactured.
Yeah, that is a product.
Yeah,
that is like we think you'll like this. We have no idea what we're doing.
That's. I know exactly. I would bet
better or worse than Goof Duck.
Oh, Goof Duck's better. There's passion there. I'm serious.
Also, I think it's funny.
It's really funny.
Drinking my hand.
I want to drink my hand shirt. All right, we got to take a break. We're going to run out of time. Hey, thanks to Cheo and thanks to Simon for being on the program. Yes. That was super cool. Go check those guys out. And also, go back to our Friday Free Show. You can hear Louis Loafers on that great tune. We'll be right back with more A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan right after this.
Welcome back to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Last week we talked about being a super fan of the movie Back to the Future, and who would have guessed that we actually have a gentleman that listens to our program.
Hey guys, I'm one of those mega Back to the Future fans that you guys were talking about the other day. And listening to you guys talk about it, while I loved hearing my favorite podcast talk about my favorite movie, oh man, some of the stuff you were saying, I was just like screaming at my phone.
Oh, we know.
But Tom, you were asking like what makes someone such a big fan, and I can't even explain it to you, dude. It's just like every time I've seen that movie over 100 times easy. Every time I finish watching it, I miss it. It literally is like I have to like involve myself in Back to the Future in some way. I have tattoos. I've played the video games. I have the books and everything you can possibly have. I can't afford a DeLorean yet, but one day maybe. And I
got you, bro.
I'm addicted almost. It's just like something I cannot get away from. Anyways, love the show. Just wanted to share that with you guys.
Or though, maybe I shouldn't enable you.
No, I thought it was
I was going to say I might have a DeLorean hookup for you, but you might have a problem.
Also, the fact that he was hiding in his cubicle made it creepier. But no, I get what you're saying, dude. And thank you. That was brave of you. I'm glad you called in. It's cool. You could hear how genuine he was. You could hear how authentic.
I felt bad when he said when he finishes the movie, he misses it immediately.
It must have just struck a chord.
Heroin.
Yeah, it just it was something about
if you study
maybe nostalgia.
But I think if you studied that, it might have been whatever was going on in his adolescent life.
When he saw it the first time.
Yeah, and then his age, how impressionable he was, what that feeling that he gets from it might be some sort of comforting or maybe filling a hole that he has in his heart because of something else that happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody's different, but it's cool to hear somebody that's into something like that. And then I start to think about myself, and I'm like, well, what are you that into? And the only thing I can think of really is kind of this show, but I kind of have to be into that one because I don't know.
I wonder if he has a significant other and what they feel about his obsession. Because it could be, if it's like a true addiction, it could be affecting his personal life.
Yeah, although if they met him while he.
What if he hit it like a real true drug
That's
addict?
the problem. It said
Yeah, you
if you
can't hide
spring
it.
that on,
We knew a guy.
your partner, they're like, hey, by the way, I spend about $2,000 a month on this garbage, and this is my
come
problem,
on.
or whatever it is. You know,
This is his passion.
yeah. That's so most likely they, you know what you're signing up for.
I mean, we know a guy that got really into a particular video game and it ruined his life. And then he ended up not only getting a divorce and alienating his entire family, but killing himself.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh, yeah. I can tell you off the air. It's a real thing. It happens.
Yeah, the people,
But-
they battle
Mental illness. It's really...
chemical imbalance and stuff, and then you get obsessed with things or addiction. It all plays into
Yeah.
it, So
Anyway.
but if it's just like, hey, this brings you happiness, that like everybody's got to waste their time and money before you die. So
Yeah.
figure out what that is.
We're all just here to get out of here.
There's no right or wrong. It's
Yeah.
like we're all wasting money and time into whatever it
Something.
is to waste time until we die. It's like, how are you going to
Make money, waste time, die.
Yeah. And some people don't want to make as much money, and that's actually probably
That's
a
my
blessing.
new aggressive Facebook T-shirt brand. Make money, waste time, die.
Because think about it, if you are wired where you don't care about having nice things, that's actually an advantage to every human, I think.
Yeah.
Because if you're wired to only really appreciate nice things, or you constantly want the best and the nicest, then you're going to be working your whole life to get those things. The people that don't care and that will drive any crappy car or will live in anywhere, and possessions don't mean anything.
Different level of priorities.
Yeah. You're actually winning as
Yeah.
a human to me, because you don't
That's the
require
key.
as much work towards that.
Yep.
Things.
I can agree with you. We got to get out of here. TomandDan.com for all things Tom and Dan. Thank you guys so much for listening. We certainly do appreciate it. Do us a huge favor. Go to YouTube and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Been putting out a lot of good content, including brand new Swervy Jones cartoons. And I'm about to fire up some of those for our lunch breaks.
Yep.
So, guys, we'll see you tomorrow.
Welcome back to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. On the line with us is our very good friend. Now, there's been a bit of a debate if we're going to keep his name Friendly Ray Chenley, or if we're going to morph it into Beefcake Ray.
Beefcake Ray.
Beefcake Ray.
But that's only when he's wearing casual clothes.
Yeah, he's very casual today, ladies and gentlemen, from the Kramer Law Firm. It's our good friend, Friendly Ray Chenley.
How you guys doing?
Good, man. Real good. Thanks for joining us via Skype. Now, would you rather be Beefcake Ray, or do you like Friendly Ray Chenley?
I like the idea of an alter ego. I show up to work, suit and tie, and I'm very friendly. But
Clark
then,
Kent.
I come down to my casual T-shirts and
Beefcake Ray!
become beef. Oh, I love it.
But I imagine Beefcake Ray has like a 5 o'clock shadow, kind of like, remember when Hulk Hogan went to the NWA and he started dyeing his
Hollywood Hogan.
weird 5 o'clock shadow?
Yeah.
He's unrecognizable in a Tom and Dan t-shirt.
And he would strum his
You guys
guitar.
can barely see it, but I didn't shave today just for you guys.
Look
Working
at
on my
that.
5 o'clock shadow.
You've been caked. I don't know.
We'll work on the
I'll
slogan.
work on the
Yeah.
slogan for you.
All right.
Yeah, I need that sent to my phone so that way I can send that to my wife.
Gonna have another baby soon.
Big beef.
Don't say big beef.
Big beef Ray?
We don't want to misrepresent anything, guys. Don't do that.
So Beefy R.
No, that is the worst one.
Beefy RT.
Oh,
I got it.
No, I don't know.
I got it. I got your name.
Okay.
You're now messing with RT Beefs. You're RT Beef. I'm RT Beef.
You can find it at Piggly Wiggly next to the RC Cola.
So RT, what do we got today? What you want to talk about something?
He's got the meats.
I've got some really good, insightful questions from our listeners.
I want to apologize for those questions. I asked the BDMs in the
Oh,
group
God,
if they
yeah.
could send me some questions, and you know how they are.
Sit or stand. Doo doo poo poo pee pee tampon fart fart.
They want to do that and then just attack someone that left the group.
They did. That was one of the questions.
Attack, attack.
Get him.
Well, I thought these were fantastic questions,
All right,
Sam. So
all
I must admit, you were sifted through all of them and found the really good ones.
Okay.
So I'll kind of start with what I consider to be probably the most on-topic one, which is what happens if you get sick at work from COVID. Are they, I'm assuming being your employer, responsible for providing you pay while you're recovering? I think that the prevailing knowledge right now is that workman's comp may be covering some of these claims. We're encouraging all of our clients that have employees to make sure that they take the proper precautions, because the last thing you want to be found is negligent in protecting your employees or your customers. And so, what I would suggest, if anybody does get sick from COVID and they can trace it to their place of employment, is to try to make a claim through workman's comp. It's going to make sure your bills are paid as far as your medical bills. Maybe give you some, money for, time that you're not working. Also, it's going to possibly give you a little bit of flexibility, with your employer, and maybe working out some arrangements where maybe you can work from home and stuff like that, because, at that point, they don't want to further infect the rest of your workplace by you coming in sick. So, I think there's a lot of reasons why you're going to want to bring it up to your employer and maybe run it through work comp.
Can I be held negligent? Let's say I get
Always.
COVID and I come here into work and I just keep it to myself and I just go about my business.
Well, and so, we haven't really talked much about that, and I haven't really seen much literature about that. But, I mean, you're almost moving beyond negligent at that point, almost to a willful decision to not tell people, knowing that you might subject them to, this disease that spreads pretty rapidly, and you might be dinged with some type of intentional conduct. But I mean, at a minimum, it could be negligent, right? You failed to warn people, and they're in your area, and there's a duty to do so, and so I mean, negligent, probably, absolutely. Whether it's intentional, I mean. Do you know that you have COVID? I mean, do you have a positive COVID test?
Right.
I didn't say that. You said that.
Right. Haven't there been, in the past with, HIV, haven't there been people that have been liable for spreading HIV? The fact that they knew they had it and then they had, unprotected sex, and then
Do you have HIV?
Haven't they been charged with, a manslaughter or something? There's been famous cases like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, it's not just HIV, the herpes is another big one that comes up fairly frequently. And
I'm sorry, Ray.
Just the name.
When someone says herpes, I laugh.
Yeah.
When
somebody says herpes, I think of burpees, and then I think of CrossFit, and then I think of yoga pants, and then I get horny.
Herpes is
That's the way my brain
that should
works.
be a negative dissociation. You should hear herpes and be opposite.
No, seriously, that's
Right.
how my brain works. It's like herpes to burpees, burpees to yoga pants to horny.
No,
Or no, it's herpes to burpees, burpees to CrossFit, CrossFit to yoga pants to horny.
okay, yeah.
I'm very simple.
Have you guys watched that show with The Rock,
No.
the Titan Games?
No.
Is it like American Gladiators?
It's American Gladiator-esque in that, it's a competition of really buff athletic people, and then they have kind of host people that you go up against at the very end. Anyway, highly recommend it. Lots of yoga pants, but that's not why you watch it. You watch it for
Friendly
The Rock.
Ray. My
that's
God.
That's RT Beef talking.
It is
That's
RTB.
not Friendly Ray. That's RTB.
Friendly Ray loves PBS. I watch a couple of great educational shows on there, especially that Mark Twain Award with Dave Chappelle. That was phenomenal. But RT Beats, he likes XNXX.
Ray, another something that's also COVID related I wanted to ask you about. Along the same lines, hasn't there been, I read a story about an employee that just told, he worked for some retail store or something like that, so some grocery store, and he said that he had COVID because he didn't want to go to work, hungover or something.
Sure.
And then they had to sanitize, send everybody home.
Oh, my
and
God.
then it turns out he didn't have it, and then they're suing him for lost wages and the money it took to sanitize the store. That could happen as well, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's quite at the level of yelling bomb at a movie theater, but I think it falls along the same lines, right? If there's something that you do and you're doing it intentionally to incite panic, and obviously if you're doing it at a place of business and they suffered financial damages, you might be in trouble both criminally, right, for inciting panic, but also civilly for interfering with your employer's business relations. And I mean, I think there was a story, I think it was out of South Carolina, where somebody was coughing on produce, and I think they ended up getting arrested, but then they also got civilly sued for, intentionally coughing on produce. I don't know if they were playing a prank, trying to be funny or something, but yeah, I mean, it's serious stuff. I don't recommend you do it. A lot of people are taking this COVID stuff really seriously, and then if you watch the news at all, I mean, people are getting aggressive with the way they expect you to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic, and whether it's wearing a mask or getting too close to people. I mean, going back to what we talked about before we were on the air, I mean, people are really, truly terrified right now, and it's probably not a good time to play pranks.
Yeah. Is it, or is the mask...
Usually it's just crazy people.
Is the mask much like the condom? If I wear 2 of them, am I increasing the... thank you. I've heard that before, too.
Yeah.
RTB, if I'd like to get to the bottom of the double condom, double mask, if I wear a double condom, my health teacher told me that it could make the bottom condom easier to break. Could the same be said for the double mask, RT?
I actually was at the courthouse on Friday of last week, and I did see a gentleman wearing 2 masks. One was like the N95 mask, and then on top of that was one of those like medical grade, cloth masks. Yeah. He looked very safe and secure, although I think he was struggling to breathe.
Right.
It's funny because there's a lot of similarities. Speaking of the condom thing, when the government and everybody's like, you wear condoms, and people with the same thing are like, hell, what? They're like, they didn't want to do it, and so it's funny because everybody acts the same thing. Like people get mad.
I don't know about you guys with the masks. It doesn't feel the same. With the mask.
Honestly, I'd be more mad about the condoms. If you think about it,
yeah, absolutely.
It's because that is actually impeding a pleasure.
It's impeding the impeding,
as opposed to the pain in the ass it is to wear the mask at a grocery store or whatever. Like, the condom's a bigger deal if you think about it. Technically, you're taking away more of the person's enjoyment,
the good time.
Yeah. Then all right, mask or no mask at Publix. How much is that decreasing your shopping pleasure?
Yeah, you think about how many hours of pain and suffering you go through as a parent. Those 5-10 minutes of wearing a condom, not nearly as bad.
Hold on, RTB, 5-10 minutes.
RTB.
Beef gets in and gets out.
1-2 beef.
I was going the opposite. I was like, that's a long.
No, I thought he was going quick.
No.
This is like a rescue mission. We're getting in and we're getting out. The helicopter skids are barely touching the jungle ground. You know what I'm saying? We're getting in and get out.
I mean, 10 minutes of beef. That's
10 minutes of beef?
That's a lot. I mean, you try. Just go.
That's what we're changing the name of the show to. Is 10 minutes of beef.
Do jumping jacks for 10 minutes. You're winded.
It's bad.
Yeah.
I can't do jumping jacks for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, Tommy Bomb only got
Tommy Bomb
2 to 3.
Where'd that come from?
Tommy Bomb.
So the next question we need to talk about.
Sorry.
As a nice peaceful transition, is the difference between a will and a trust.
Okay.
I get this question all the time from people. The first is what a will is. A will is just a set of instructions, okay? Most people think that a will allows you to avoid a probate. That's not what it does.
True,
Okay.
yeah.
Instead, it's the opposite, right? It's when your case goes to probate because somebody passed away, the will is then given to the court, and the court knows what your instructions are. So they want, Tom to get 10%, Dan to get 90%.
There you go.
and that's really what your will is going to do. And so it's just a set of instructions. Most estate planning attorneys are going to sit down with you and try to talk to you about ways to avoid a probate. And one of those ways is oftentimes a trust. What a trust is, it's a fictitious entity, right? So it's like setting up, a business. It exists on paper, and then what you need to do is you need to make it exist in real life. And so a lot of times what people will do is open up bank accounts, title assets in the name of the trust, and that gives the trust some life.
Yeah.
Trust can be separated by living trust or testamentary trust, which means they come to exist after you pass. They can be set up for specific purposes. So if you've got somebody with special needs, you can set up a special needs trust. If you've got land, you can have a land trust. You can have firearms trust or gun trust. So there's all kinds of reasons for trust. And so, what I tell everybody is, the options for trust are almost infinite. And so if it's something that you're interested in, whether it's just preparing a simple estate or having a trust prepared, it's really important to go through those specifics with the attorney and say, this is what I'm concerned about, these are what my goals are, and then, let the attorney kind of guide you towards what's the best tool for your job.
Ray, let me ask you about this because I'm familiar with this, and I will tell you that if you just have a will and you let it go to probate, you could be asking for a lot of problems. If anybody can test that, usually lawyers then get involved. No offense, but
real messy.
It could cost you a bunch of money with people fighting over the probate, because probate basically opens it up for all your creditors to, anybody you owe money to, anybody that has a claim on your assets or they want, so a trust, to my knowledge, once you have the trust, now it's a lot more money to set up, but say like I have a trust in my, and if I die, it goes all to Tommy Max. Like instantly upon my death, everything gets transferred into the trust that Tommy Max owns, and boom, that's it. Nobody can, then I guess you could always contest things, but way harder contest a trust. You don't have to get the government involved. You don't have to open up probate. It just, everything instantly gets transferred, and that's it. You don't have to involve in the government or anybody else.
So you got two things really right there. One is you maintain control, and you get to dictate where you want things to go and when you want them to go there, right? So you may not want to give your kids, a car or boat today, but maybe when they turn 21 or 18, you say, here you go, here's an asset for you. That's very common in trust. The other thing you got right is, you're not getting the government involved, right? So a big reason that we suggest trust to people is for privacy. There's not, that little old man. I like to go to the scene from the movie Carrot Top. I don't know if you remember it, where the little old man is reading the will. That's kind of what I envision when I think of, wills.
Yeah.
And, you don't have that kind of public setup. You don't have a court or a judge making, looking into your finances. You don't have creditors making claims. It's private. And so it's kept internally. And like you said, there can be lawsuits towards those things, but it's not very common. As far as costs go, I mean, I don't want to say it's an insignificant amount of money. You might spend, $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000, but my initial fee for probates is usually starting at $2,000, $2,500.
Right.
So you look at it that way, you're saving your family money. I mean, that's really the key. You're saving your family money by preparing a trust.
So two things. You could have, like, if you have a bunch of money to leave someone, you could actually write out in the trust how that money gets distributed. And like you said, like, if you want to leave it to your kids, but you want to make sure that they're responsible, you could put in there, like, hey, it gets like X amount gets, like, the final portion gets less when they're 35 or whatever. Or you can even have, I know a buddy of mine, his grandfather was rich, and then he left it in a trust, and a lawyer actually oversaw the trust.
Yeah, manages it. Yeah.
And then he would have to ask like the lawyer, like, hey, I'm going to buy a house. This is where the money from. And the lawyer would distribute the money to him, even though it's his money. Technically, it's under his name, but the lawyer actually, like the granddad, made sure that someone was like
a guide.
So so he didn't waste it, because that's another thing too. You leave a couple $100,000 to your teenage kids, they're going to blow it, and they're going to probably ruin their damn lives.
Destroyed.
It could be actually hurtful to leave a bunch of money to some kid.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, those are all really good points. And, sometimes you do have professionals manage the trust, especially, when you see some of these larger trusts or, where you're talking about generational wealth potentially. You're seeing a lot of professionals that are going to be managing those trusts. The one caveat that I would say is, it could conceivably be the beneficiary's money that the trustee is managing, so that's the person managing it. But more often than not, it's for the benefit of the beneficiary, right? And so what that means is, and I'll use your example of your boys, you've got two kids, neither of them really get everything until they reach a certain age. Let's call it 35.
They have everything, I assure you.
Well, it might be time for them to go to college. They're both going to be very studious, and they need, books, or they need, money for room and board.
Yeah.
And so the trustee generally is going to have some discretion in making those distributions as needed. And it's not necessarily something you have to spell out. You just say, hey, I trust Uncle Dan to make sure that the boys get taken care of.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, never trust Uncle Dan.
Uncle Dan.
Uncle Dan's gay.
How much money do we have, boys? $100,000? All right. Uncle Dan's got you.
Going to the track.
Yeah. Let's go have some fun.
Yeah. Uncle
you guys
Dan,
watch these videos while Uncle Dan uses some of your money to have a little fun.
Hey, why does Uncle Dan have a bunch of copper in the back of his truck? That's not a good time.
Never talk about Uncle Dan's copper. What did I tell you?
And his rusted out old Chevy.
We wish our dad was still here.
Well, I don't. He ran our company into the ground, and that'll be the last you ever talk about your dad in this house. You want me out on the street?
Dark place now.
You want me to kill you like I killed him? Oops.
Man, use all Lion King on him.
Ray, any more questions?
I'm the tiniest scar.
We got time for one more.
All right, I got one more question for you guys. The question was, can I explain qualified immunity? I don't know if you guys are familiar with the concept of qualified immunity. It's been coming up a lot with these police-involved shootings, and obviously, with the situation that's going around across the world, really, as we look at justified use of force with law enforcement.
Sure.
It's something that's been a lot, talked about a lot in the news, and so. One, it's a doctrine that's been developed through the law, and what it's basically designed to do is protect governmental entities and their employees. So most notably, as we're talking about in context, is law enforcement. And really what it does is it protects government officials that are, maybe make mistakes, cause damages while in performance of their duties. It's qualified because it's not absolute, right? So, an idea of an absolute immunity is, you see it on TV sometimes where they're like, I want our immunity agreement. And it's like, well, you can do whatever you want. You can murder somebody, but because you're cooperating with the FBI, we're going to, wave a wand and you're not going to go to jail for anything like that. That's kind of more of an absolute immunity, even though there's conditions on stuff like that too.
Yeah. Don't like diplomats and stuff from other countries have some sort of immunity or our laws?
Yeah, and that's through treaties. So again, it's just different bodies of law where we recognize that, people should be protected, and the idea is this, right? The concept is we don't want, and I'll use a firefighter as an example because maybe it's a less inflammatory example. We don't want a firefighter to be charged with breaking and entering because they kicked in the wrong door because they got a phone call and said that there's a fire at,
Right.
10th Street. They kick in the door, and now they're getting sued for breaking and entering, right? Or for damaging the property. We don't want it to be something like that. So, so what it does is it kind of makes a shift of responsibility, and so, the big argument in favor of qualified immunity is it allows officers to conduct their jobs without fear of being sued and suffering financial damages. And it also protects the public, right? Because, when the cities and counties get sued, then conceptually it's all of our money that goes to that lawsuit.
Gotcha.
The argument against this is real simple, right? It creates a lack of accountability.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's where people are really having a hard time, is because the way we've interpreted this idea of a qualified immunity, specifically as it relates to government officials and law enforcement, has been very broad.
Sure.
And so, there are, exceptions, so like an example of this would be, and this is, I think, one of the ones where you've got a broad definition, you've got the application of a broad definition, and then you've got, obviously, the possibility for abuse. So we have an exception for a mistaken belief of fact, right? So this is the example of somebody points a silver, object at a cop on the street. The cop shoots that person 10 times. That silver object was a flashlight.
Yeah.
Right? And so the way the qualified immunity has been read was, well, that was a mistake of fact, and that was something that would be reasonable given the circumstances of time and distance and, whatever other surrounding circumstances there might have been, so that person gets a free pass. And that's where you're seeing this disconnect, is the way that we've interpreted this privilege has been so broadly construed that, it's like, oh, I got an offender bender. Well, they must have stopped too soon, right? They must have brake checked me. It becomes almost just a simple excuse. And so that's the way people are interpreting it, at least. I don't want to put myself in the shoes of law enforcement. They've got an incredibly difficult job, and they're under a microscope every day, not just because of social media and cell phone cameras, but because of the fact that they are there to protect and serve the public. And so, they've got a lot of accountability, and that makes their job very tough. And it doesn't make it any easier when you've got politicians and news people that are trying to tear down law enforcement and make it look like they're all bad guys. That being said, there probably is some degree of lawyers needing to clarify things, courts
clean
needing
it up,
to
right?
interpret things.
And you guys have to do that periodically. You have to go back through and tidy things up, right? Tighten up the wordage and maybe, drill it down a little bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think part of the frustration, and this is me talking, not necessarily something I've read or seen. I think part of the frustration is the speed at which it gets looked at, right? So, the initial kind of idea around, we're going to hold law enforcement, accountable. It's not going to be an absolute immunity. Started back in, I think it was in 1800s, if I'm not mistaken. And then it was looked at again in the civil rights movement. So now you're looking at, 60, almost 70 years later, and you're saying, okay, well, let's look at it again.
Yeah.
Well, obviously the world has changed pretty drastically in that time, and people do need to be accountable. And I think that what people really need to know is that it's not just, I'm going to say that there's going to be change for the sake of saying there's going to be change because there's an election coming up in November. I think people really need to feel it and see it and observe it, and that's going to take time.
Yeah.
So, the idea of qualified immunity, I don't think it goes anywhere. I think that at the end of the day, most people are looking at dollars and cents. And I think that anytime you give a person a deadly weapon, whether it's a vehicle, whether it's a gun, there's going to be cause for potential unlimited liability there. And I just don't see that part of the law changing too quickly.
We need to take the human element out of it. We need RoboCop.
Yeah, we need RoboCop.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah.
I'd buy that for
Did you see that movie, I, Robot? The robots at the end end up killing a lot of people.
Well, yeah, but that's the movie. I'm just saying, a robot cop, will literally handle every situation.
That's when RT Beef comes out, kills all the robots.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then there's that.
Help! The robots are killing
Bring
us,
out the
RT Beef.
guns.
And RoboCop, they bring out that advanced RoboCop.
the one that kills
the
one that's
claymation.
when and it mows down everybody sitting around the
conference room.
boardroom.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that scene scarred me as a kid.
Feels like the scientists that put together that presentation are going to get fired.
There's nobody else to fire.
Yeah.
It's like there should have been a button to stop that or
Yeah.
something.
And why did
That's always the case, right? You just need to have one button to shut down all the robots, so when they all eventually go bad, because they will.
Yeah.
That's what Hollywood has taught us, is that all the robots will eventually turn against us and kill us.
If there's anything I learned, it's that RoboCop's seemingly perfectly smooth human face would have been mangled and dying.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the lady who had her face ripped off by the chimpanzee because she wouldn't buy it wine. And that is a hard thing to keep nice when you've had it mangled up.
Yeah. Wasn't his whole body burned, but just his face was perfect?
Yeah.
Smooth face.
Yeah, what do you have on your face? I had a piece of tinfoil. I got lucky. A piece of tinfoil blew right out of my face. I got lucky.
It was his moisturizing regimen.
Yeah, exactly. What do you use?
Be like, there's not even one scar on your smooth baby
I
face.
use Clinique.
You don't even have to shave now?
No,
You're
no.
so smooth.
It burned the hair follicles out, but then it smoothed my face down.
All right, Ray. OneFirmForLife.com.
Today, what are we talking about? Wills? Where there's a will,
There's a Ray.
where there's
I like that.
and where there's a trust, RT Beef busts
No.
in them
We're going to do all
guts.
our slogans from now on.
No.
RT Beef busting a gut.
No.
Butler laughed. And if I can get one butler, I can get 100 butlers. I know that.
We don't want 100
Yo, that's to counteract
That's
the
not
robot.
true.
They're going to fight
That
the
would
robot.
be-
It's RoboCops versus butlers. Who wins? I'm Team Dobson.
All right, Ray. It was great talking to you. We appreciate
Likewise.
your time.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon, man.
I appreciate you guys. Take care. Stay safe.
You
All right,
too, man.
take it
Be
easy.
good. Stay safe out there, as Tom Van says. Friendly Ray Trunley, the Kramer Law Firm, one firm for life.
Look at him spending money at our website and buying shirts.
That hurt my heart. He shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's supporting us.
He's got the
Well, a
money.
good business would take every single client we have, and when new products roll out, we'd send them everything we have and go, appreciate your business.
When
But
can
what
we
do we
get
do?
a RT Beef shirt?
What do we do when the boxes get here? I'm like, give it a new shirt. I want a new shirt.
And then all our sponsors are like, I want a shirt. Buy yourself.
We have a lot more of those gaiters that people use for
Yeah.
masks, and I took like 70 of them.
We don't even use it.
I hoard them like toilet paper.
for nothing.
Tom's like,
I'm going to wear it as a tube top.
Tom's like, I thought it.
What?
Sorry that
What happened?
you didn't hear what she said.
What?
She's gonna
RT
wear.
beef.
She's gonna
Oh.
wear the gator as a tube top.
Oh.
And I had a mini stroke. I had a mini stroke.
Don't yell tubes.
Those are untiable tubes.
Big old
I'm
tube.
gonna-
Don't say big old tubes. I can't say busting into guts, and you can
No.
say tie the tubes.
No. All right, let's
Get out of here.
Is it the end? Where are we at?
I'm leaving. You guys can come back. I'm gone.
I'm bored.
Let's take a quick break. I like when we're in court and then Samantha's like, and their attorney was on the, show.
line. And they started calling him RT Beef and say he was busting the in the guts.
And then we just look over at the table. He's sitting there with us. That was the whole purpose.
But damn it, Tom and Dan shirt on. But we're dressed in suits.
We're like, RT Beef, it's suit time. We're going to jail.
And then you know how I get
Time for suits.
Do you know
It's
how I
time for
win?
suits.
This is how I win. I gently I'm on trial, and I sit there and I just pat my legs and I go beef. And then everybody in the
The whole
corner
crowd.
beef, and then the jury beef.
Then the judge.
beef, and he's like, "Stop it! Everyone in jail."
Order!
It didn't go well. It didn't go well.
Oh, yeah. All right. Let's take a break, and we'll be back more Corporate Time. Welcome to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Our producer Samantha's here. Hello, Sam.
Hi.
What's new?
Not much.
I like your Firefest shirt.
Thank you. This is a gift from Pariah Mike.
Is that a real Firefest shirt?
I'm going to go with no.
Probably,
Can you even get
replica.
those
I don't
Did
think
they
so.
do the whole like thing that they do with like the?
It's probably a Spreadshirt T-shirt. You know, you can
It's
make
cool
your own.
looking. It looks legit. But yeah, head over if you want to be scammed about as much as Fire Festival. Head over to tomanddan.com and sign up to be a BDM or get some of our merch.
Oh yeah, we'll scam you good.
Oh, we're the scammiest.
So last night I
You look rough.
sustained an injury.
Well, you look like you've been beat up a little bit.
yeah.
You have
so-
a poofy face a little bit.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah. Well, that's just alcoholism.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, above
That's
that,
normal.
there's
Yeah,
above that, there's some contusions on your.
Yeah.
head.
So, all right. After the kids took their shower.
Oh, they're showering now.
Yeah. They every once in a while they opt for the shower. And so after,
Like a big boy.
yeah. After the shower, I usually do about a half an hour of light wrestling, or
Okay.
fighting.
That'll get them to
you know?
settle down for bed.
Yeah. It's
Crystal
always good.
hates it.
It's always good to do your wrestling after the shower, not before.
Yeah. I
This
do it
is all-
before
this-
too.
yeah.
all
Okay.
times.
Yeah,
All
Andrea,
around.
Andrea hates that too because it's supposed to be quote quiet time, but I just can't stop tickling.
So
Gotta tickle.
I sometimes I play this character. It's kind of a special needs sloth type monster that he's trying to just get love. And then
Oh my God!
I might know this
and then
guy.
the boys are scared of the sloth because
But they don't understand that the way to really beat the sloth is to give the sloth love.
Yeah, but he's
and
just
make him your friend.
It's probably not PC if you saw the actual reenactment at my house because I love, give me love.
You're the monster from Frankenstein.
No, wait a minute. Is this the monster? Is this monster chasing your wife or chasing your sons?
Well,
the love, give me love, like that.
When the boys
Do you sing a song? You go like, love, give me love. I am the love monster.
when the boys go to bed, I start.
And then you do the same thing. You just go a little deeper. Love, give me love. I am the love monster.
I started Hills Have Eyes attacking my wife.
Yeah.
She hates
Oh,
too.
my
Yeah,
God.
cutting her shirt off with a
Yeah.
pair of scissors inside an RV, and then you take the
That's a disturbing scene. By the
yeah,
way.
that is a disturbing. That's a disturbing scene. And then
This movie shouldn't exist.
And what do they do to make it worse? So they cut the mom's clothes off with a pair of scissors. It's horrible.
This scene traumatized me.
You did to me too.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
what do? They take the guy out, tie him to a tree, burn the tree.
yeah.
Those
I'm
are
like-
the two worst parts of that movie.
Yeah, that is.
Those two
I mean,
far.
those
Yeah.
two scenes. I was like, why?
I made Jessica cry in the movie theaters because I took her to see that movie.
I look at when
she was so
Griffin
mad.
Jess-
She was so mad at me.
How do you get done with filming that and go like, that's a wrap, guys? I think we really did the world some good here.
Grifton Jess doesn't need the so much heavy
No,
content.
Oh, she was mad. She's
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
why did you make me watch this? I'm like,
Griffin-
I didn't know.
Griffin Jess is okay with a left-handed cigarette and an auto trader.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
need to give her something
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. She don't want
I
your
didn't know.
serial killing and mutant rape scenes.
No, she doesn't want
It was
that.
rough.
Give her the latest single by Jelly Roll and a left-handed cigarette. She'll be just fine.
So anyway, I'm chasing the boys around, and I'm
Love,
like,
give me
I'm
love.
like, give me love.
Now, are you saying sloth as in like the animal or sloth from the Goonies?
Sloth from the Goonies?
Gotcha.
Like that type of monster who.
Well, he was a human.
He's a
He's a
kind.
monster-
He's a
monster
kind-hearted
man.
monster, but he's
He's
scary.
misunderstood.
Yeah, he's misunderstood. That's what I'm kind of going
And he
for.
gets some
Okay.
communication issues.
And then the boys are nude because they're out of the shower, and
This took a turn.
Yeah.
I'm wrestling. And then when I catch them,
Even Sloth, I feel like, would be like,
Too
put
far.
the clothes on before
Yeah.
I chase you.
Put on your tidy whities.
This looks weird.
and then when I finally catch them, I pet their hair, and I'm like, and they hate it, and they're like, get out.
If I were Crystal, I would, while you're doing the and petting their head, I would be silently packing my things.
And then if I catch like Max, then Tommy will try to save Max and like pull him away, and I'm like wrestling. I'm like holding his feet. He's holding the arms. I'm like,
Wait,
"Ah."
how's his collarbone, by the way? Are you ripping his
Oh,
arm
yeah,
out
yeah,
of
making
socket?
it
slapping
worse.
that
Hold on, I'm
crazy.
doing the trailer
Okay.
for the movie. It's
Yeah.
one monster and two naked boys. An unlikely friendship.
His collarbone seems fine now. He stopped complaining about it like 1 week into it, and Crystal was like,
is
"Wait,
it healed? Is it not healed? Nobody knows. There's no science to prove it.
Yeah.
There's no way to figure out if he's healed.
We never took him back for his final appointment because
just like the vasectomy appointment. Yeah. You guys never go to your exit interviews.
It's like $180 for what? If you tell me he's fine, I know he's fine. He's been doing flips in the pool. Like
he's fine.
Anyway, so I'm the special needs sloth, and I just need love.
Love, give me love.
So we're in the playroom, and then at a certain point, they're trying to fight me off by throwing things at me. And
still nude.
Still nude.
Okay.
And there's this. They got it for I think Christmas or something. And it's like a golf machine type of Fisher-Price thing where you press this lever with your foot and it loads a golf ball onto the tee, and then you hit it with a Fisher-Price golf club.
And this is an inside toy.
Well, it's supposed to be outside. It's just it's in the playroom in the giant pile of other plastic Chinese
the garbage. Garbage pile.
And so it's sitting there, and it's got like a sleeve of plastic wiffle ball golf balls that basically go onto this like ramp that will gravity kind of feeds it into the thing or whatever. So there's probably like I would say 10 or so of these plastic golf balls. Now they're hollow and they're like a wiffle ball, really light.
Yeah, I've got a picture of them up at twitch.tv/Tom
They look like real golf balls.
Well, one of them is real.
See, look.
And I know you can see where I'm going with this.
Yeah, this one is a matte finish. This one is a matte finish. And as you scroll down a little bit, this one here is a shinier
that's the real one.
A golf ball.
So I'm not here to accuse anybody, but someone while they're cleaning up the playroom,
I see,
loaded a real golf ball into the mix of light Fisher-Price golf balls.
I mean, the same thing happened to Brandon Lee, right?
That's right. You're right.
Yeah. So the boys,
you got to be very careful what happens on set.
They got over to that machine, and then they started taking the light Fisher-Price golf balls and throwing them at the sloth monster.
At the love monster, yes.
And it was funny, and I'm like, and I'm trying to, I'm knocking the golf balls.
You're like, don't golf ball.
Yeah. I'm doing the whole thing.
Yeah,
and
you're really into it.
Yeah. And so they're throwing the light golf balls, and I'm whacking them away, and then I'm like throwing them back. And then Max just picks up what he thinks is another.
He's got an arm, too. He and Maisie can throw. They can throw.
With the good arm or the bad arm?
Fisher-Price. Well, now both arms are good, but he's got the good right arm. I don't know what.
He can wing it.
And he picks it up, and he doesn't notice that this is the heavy, real golf ball.
Randy Johnson.
I don't notice it either, and he... Similar to Randy Johnson.
Manny.
Total puts his entire body weight and everything into this throw.
And he's got a baseball player's booty.
If he throws that big Kirby Puckett ass of his in there, oh my God!
And
put your head up to the camera just so everybody can see your contusion.
And I'm just like, no.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
I throw a golf ball at you too.
What I just put on camera is horrible.
I'm like, give me love. And then he throws with all his might this golf ball, and it ricochets off my skull. And I'm like, it hurts so bad.
My bad, dude. You're lucky you didn't get a black eye because it'll start to just travel down your face. You have
it made a sound Crystal heard from the kitchen.
Like a watermelon thump.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the worst.
And
did it ring your bell? Because sometimes.
Right.
I mean it.
Concussion?
No, not concussion. More like it stunned me because
what are the monster? Did you start talking regular at that point where you're like, go on, give me love? Yeah.
No, immediately I was like, oh! Like,
how do you not curse in front of him too? Oh my God, it's hard not to.
Max immediately it freaked him out because he got scared that he hurt Daddy. He didn't mean to.
Scared of the second wave of the monster coming to really get him.
And really, I immediately went. I looked at myself in the mirror and I could see the dimples like all the dimples in the golf ball.
Oh, my God.
Were imprinted in my forehead for how hard he hit me, and then a big old chichon started growing.
What's a chichon?
It's like a lump, a Miami lump.
Miami lump.
Wait, is that
my friends call
is that verified?
chichon.
Why is it every time somebody says something that is Spanish, I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm looking it up.
Most of
I don't
the
trust
time,
it.
okay, hold on. Most of the time, when you're white bread, Johnny White bread.
Yeah.
When most of the time when you say something like that, it is
He's right.
it's usually racist. It usually is.
Yeah, usually, but this.
Depending on the context, but in the noun, it is chichon, is
Chichon.
bump on the head.
Yeah. That's a Miami thing, but
There's not a song about chichon. Chichon, bump on it. Chichon. I want love.
Yeah. So that was my last night, and then
Oh my God.
and then the rest of the night. As an adult, you rarely get bumps on your head anymore.
Speak for yourself.
Well, like you don't. Well, yeah. We don't fall down a lot. Well, these are all things that Samantha does all the time.
So.
But like falling down,
fall through a door, you'll get a chichon.
Oh, I got more than a chichon. Lost half my eyebrow.
Yeah, like it. There are certain things you lose. Like when I was riding that electric skateboard with Maisie and I fell off. When I hit.
Yeah.
I was like, I haven't done that in 15 years, and it hurt.
Yeah,
and it made a noise like you'd filled a pillowcase full of like 5 to 12 pork butts, and you just threw it off. You know what I mean? Like when it landed, it was just like no. There's a squish too. It's like a big. It's just like. And I'm like, oh! It's like, it's not the same. Like, when Maisie falls now, she just kind of bounce roll.
Well,
it doesn't even affect
your
her.
bones get more brittle. You're stiffer.
Yeah. I think I'm completely fused.
Yeah. That'll happen.
Like, there was nothing more disappointing.
Your reflexes aren't as good.
But like, there's nothing more disappointing as a child than getting an action figure that you can't move its arms.
Yeah.
It's not fully articulated. It's just a guy. That's what I am now. I'm just a guy.
Yeah.
I can't move anything. I'm just here. You can make me walk around. I don't bend. My arms don't move.
Yeah. Speaking of that, my sons only like to play with action figures that can their arms and legs can move, and then like they have joints. You know what I'm saying? Like
fully articulated.
Yeah, they're fully articulated, like the old GI Joes. Right?
Yeah.
If they
had like 360 swivel arms and a swivel waist with a rubber band in the center,
and they'll have some toys where their arms move, but the legs are straight, and they hate them.
Yeah.
And then the other, like they have
some don't even move at all.
Yeah, they have ones that are just the mold,
or some they bend
hate those too.
They just bend at the waist. Like their arms don't move, legs don't move, but they'll bend at the waist so you can fit them in a vehicle.
Yeah. They don't like that.
Yeah, what good is that?
So they'll go to their like Bobo G.I. Joes that are fully articulated before they'll play with their like Marvel action figures that are molds because they like moving, especially the legs. They like moving the legs like to replicate
Daddy can't
running.
move his legs when he skips, so we like to move our toys' legs.
Watch, our G.I. Joes can skip.
Oh, by the way, that's become an ongoing joke, and my whole family bullies me.
They make you do it. It's like a party trick now. They're like, come out here. Tom's about to skip. Skip for him, baby.
Yeah. Then now Max learned how to skip. And
he surpassed you.
How'd you let him? That's why he threw the golf ball at you.
He's bullying you.
Yeah,
now.
he is bullying you a little bit.
And then like my mother-in-law and sister-in-law were over the house. They're like, "We heard you can skip. Let's see it." And then I'm like,
now you're like the world's worst male review. You're like, somebody said you got the goods, and by goods I mean you can't skip. So why don't you skip for us? You
Have
idiot.
you been working on it? You said you were going to perfect
No,
it.
I gave up. Now I'm
I think I can teach you.
What
if I said
I'm hiding.
What if I said between now, much like in any good 90s movie where we take the nerd girl and I give her a makeover and she's really the bombshell, I can get you to skip by the Freddie Free Show.
Oh, okay.
Guaranteed.
Well, if this was a true 90s movie, it would be like I take my hat off and my glasses and all of that.
Sometimes you got to do what it takes to skip. Dun, 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 dun. You gotta put in the work and the elbow grease and don't quit. Cause you gotta skip to the top of the mountain if you wanna be the best.
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
I like in those movies too. Like, even when she had the hat and glasses on, she was a smoking hot 10. I could see.
How about she's all that?
Yeah. What if you're into nerds? I married one. Sometimes I look at the nerd. I'm like, no, leave her alone. She's got the glasses. I like that.
Yeah.
Why are you like making her look like everybody else?
Yeah.
You're taking away her individuuity, and I like the nerd.
Putting some glasses and hat on didn't mean like ew, like a sloth. It's just like he's just got a smoking hot chick put a hat and glasses on.
The opposite of that, the 180 is Sloth from the movie Goonies can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
You could grow his facial hair. You could put him.
I
in,
can
like,
still tell
full hipster clothes.
You can put a pillowcase over his head and be like, "There's a sloth."
Oh my God. That's a sloth.
Yeah.
He was a beefcake, though.
He
put a paper bag over his head.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Really? You don't think you could tell a little bit?
He was built like a old 1972 Dolphins O lineman.
He looks like who is
man?
Yeah, he's got the body of Dick Butkus.
No,
but the face of Rocky Dennis.
Yeah.
More of an almond.
Did he have a tiny little hair? He had an almond head, and he had the
he had a Bubba Whoop-Ass Wilson head.
Oh my God, he did.
It's called the Burt. And by the way, Bubba's real name is Burt, I'm thinking the reason it's called the Burt is if you look at Burt from Burt and Ernie, and you look at Burt Wilson.
Their heads
same head, little tuft of hair on the top.
You know who also has that? Sinbad.
Sinbad
does.
Sinbad has the bird.
It's the almond head, and then on the top they just hot glue a little
troll hair.
Yeah. Let's all cut our hair like that. Let's all do a fade.
But our hair's
no, but you can make it look that way like John the Barber. He can shade it and give us a fade, so it'll be like darker, lighter, or no, it'd be lighter, darker, poof.
BT Dubs, Sloth was actually played by an American football defensive lineman.
No, really?
Yeah.
Was it Dick Butkus?
John Daniel Matuzak?
John Daniel Matooks, the hot sauce.
How funny is that? We're like, he's built like
an old
defensive.
Makes sense. He was 6'7".
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He played for the Oakland/Los Angeles Raiders.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
and later joined the
Oakland
Houston
Sloths.
Oilers. So that makes sense.
It does make sense. Why did I go? It does make sense. And then I go.
Hold the boulder. By the way, how did Sloth get out of there? Did he?
He didn't.
I'm surprised they didn't. I'm surprised they didn't do another movie kind of following his misadventures. Right?
I thought there was like some really crappy Goonies 2. No,
I want to say there was a Goonies 2.
There was.
Was there?
Oh no, never mind. This is there was a Goonies 2 video game. And then there was one of those fake fan trailers of someone doing Goonies 2 Never Say Die.
Why did the pirate ship sail off at the end? It's seemingly hundreds of years old, and the rocks just broke, and then it just broke free and just is sailing off with no sails.
Finally free.
Caught some wind.
No sails.
Did they not have the sails up?
No.
It's a pirate, like a ghost ship. From the Twitch chat room, people are asking, can you get almond head, adult onset almond head?
I don't know.
Man, that's bad.
It seemed like Sinbad
Maybe if you had an accident, I think.
No, I think Sinbad always had almond head, but I feel like he just cut his hair tighter. And when you when you
male
shave
pattern baldness,
when you shave down the sides of your almond,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Who on the show is gonna get almond head? And it won't be Sam.
No, Butler.
Butler, are you here?
I don't know. He's got the Neanderthal skull.
Yeah.
Is Butler here?
Not quite almondy.
Butler, get in here. I want to look at your head to see if you'll get almond head.
Yeah. Let's see.
And then I'm going to ask
He
you
might, actually.
And then I'm going to ask you about carrots.
He may.
Hold on.
No, I don't. There's no really almond head. He's got.
I don't think you're going to get the almond head. No, your head's too round.
I may get the almond head.
Hold on, look at mine. Let me take my hat off here.
Yeah.
Do I look almondy?
No.
I'll get the almond.
I don't think you can.
And I'll shave it down and get just the troll hair at the top.
I don't think it happens to women. Name a woman.
I got to get the poof to hide the almond.
Name a woman that has almond head. I don't think I can name a woman in Hollywood that has almond head.
I'll have to think about this. Hold on.
Can we could.
They hide it with the hair, right?
We'll have to reach out to Bubba and see maybe if we can talk to him about his almond head.
Yeah.
He gets real sensitive about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Well, maybe at this point,
radio war or anything. You can make that guy mad. You know, we don't don't need that. We don't need that. Okay, my stress
What about
level.
Reese Witherspoon? If she shaved her head, she might have.
I don't think she has an almond head.
Yeah.
Like my wife has a reverse almond head. That's where she has a pointy chin. But as her head goes up, it gets bigger, like either a Remax balloon or Kelly's homemade ice cream cone.
That's an alien. Like,
Oh my God.
Alien. My wife's got the alien ice cream cone head. I used to call it ice cream cone head, but alien's meaner.
My wife's got the big Buford.
yeah. Hers is just
Big Buford.
Yeah,
it's like
her family has
like
big heads.
She got a head like a 3-pound gummy bear,
and she gave it to my sons.
Your kids do have some big heads.
Yeah,
they're huge.
Yeah, I do. I look at their heads, and I'm like, your heads are giant.
Yeah,
and they're gross me out, bro.
Oh, come on.
I saw one of them, like they were sitting on the bed, and one of your sons fell over, and his head just pulled his body off.
yeah.
Now Maisie has the opposite.
Big.
Maisie has a tiny Beetlejuice head.
Oh yeah,
tiny little Beetlejuice head, like a grape.
Yeah.
And she has really thin hair, like the Crypt Keeper. I'm like, ew, yuck. And when I brush it, it falls out. It's disgusting. I flush it down the toilet.
Yeah, us butlers have big old heads. Like,
yeah, maybe
it's the
my wife's
Neanderthal.
big heads. Yeah,
my wife's a butler.
Yeah, butlers big heads. That's what we do.
Are you
Butler big
related
heads.
to? Have we traced to see if our butler and your butler intertangle?
Ooh, what if they were related?
There's a lot of butlers. I think it's because there were a lot of butlers in the world, and then your last name ended up being Butler because you were literally the butler.
These are you guys come from blue collar stock.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Unlike me, like straight royalty. I mean, like long line of very, very small kings. Very small kings.
I never understood. I understand being curious about it, but like,
man, I can surprise you.
Your ancestors, I'm like, might as well be a stranger. Right?
I was gonna say I can surprise you. I do not care.
Yeah.
Andrea's like, don't you want to trace it and just like see, and I'm like, I got no time to do that. What am I going to even do with the knowledge?
Yeah. Like my papa.
And what if I find out something bad?
I see pictures this is my dad. It's like, this is your.
Oh, you are going to find something bad, 100%.
No, I'm not talking about like a disease or something. That's fine. I mean, that's coming to get you. But I'm talking about like you go back in time and you're like, and your great grandfather was the worst man in a world.
A serial rapist. You're like, what?
I'm like,
it'll happen.
It's a stranger.
There's someone in my family tree that a lady, she was one of the first people executed, women executed at the Tower of London.
Really?
For murder. Yeah.
Whoa, send me that story. I want to read about it.
There's all kinds of crazy
great
stuff
almond head murders.
Yeah, the great almond.
Yeah.
Man, it must have been rough living back then. If you think about like how good we have it with
especially for women
or people
of color. I mean, you guys were golden.
Not me. I'd have been picked on.
Yeah.
That's true.
They'd be throwing him off the mountain. You know
exactly,
what I mean?
Kick him right off.
Yeah. It didn't make the cut.
run of the litter.
I don't know what to do with you. You ain't quite a midget and you ain't quite a normal. That's what they would say to me.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably have to go be with the little people because you guys are so judgmental and horrible. I'd have to go there and befriend them because they're sweet. You guys are terrible human beings.
You'd be
fine. This is my family now.
The jester, you'd come in and entertain, dance around,
sing a song,
drink this poison water. Tastes good to me.
They're like, hi,
we knew it. I knew it when I called it poison water.
I'll say, like, you guys' senses of humor are messed up. Like, you're laughing at horrible things.
Yeah. I remember as a kid, because the only history they teach you is, it's all garbage. And they tell you, I remember the two shocking things I found out when we were discussing, like, medieval times was the teacher had told us that kings would use their court jester not only for entertainment, but to also taste gifts that might be given to the court, and also kings kept large dogs around them so that when they were done eating they could wipe their hands on their dogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like a towel or napkin?
Look that up. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just something I remember a teacher telling me. It's a new segment I'm doing called Teachers All Lied to Us. It's a great segment. It's gonna be wildfire.
I believe it.
Do you think kings actually wipe their hands on dogs?
Yeah. I mean,
and they kept them in their bed. They kept them in their bed because it'd keep them warm, and the fleas or insects that might be around would go to the dog, not to the human.
Yeah. So you get the fleas.
I don't know if any of that's true. That's just what I was told.
That makes sense. Like I said, rough living.
Sometimes I've looked at Caesar after I've eaten something gross and been like, I just want to wipe my hands on him just to see what it's like.
My rib fingers all over my beautiful husky.
Yeah. You just wipe them all
down.
over it, because it's not they would have looked at the dog, I think, as it's working. It's not a beautiful companion,
Yeah.
We, as a civilization, this is the perfect time to be poor but still live a comfortable life, right? More than any other time in the world. Like, depends on where you live and what country
and
stuff,
also kind of what you're going through,
But like, if you are poor and your situation, you don't have that too many, funds, you could still probably have a house with AC, some sort of entertainment for relatively inexpensive, that kind of thing, and not live such a difficult life. I mean, more difficult than the person with money, but still probably 100 times better than someone of your relative wealth 100 years ago, right? It was just the best time.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
You could live more comfortably being poor. Not like homeless poor, but like, lower income.
Yeah.
Because it's just things are so cheap nowadays.
Someone has a whistle booger.
It's Butler.
It could be me.
Go ahead, give it a good toot.
There's a little whistle there.
Yeah.
Is there a little whistle
you
in
got
there?
a lot of Neanderthal nose hairs.
Big thicker. Big thickers in there.
Yeah.
My nose was itching earlier, so I think I may have loosened
They're
up the
not even
booger.
like hairs. They're like
Straw.
Brooklyn Bridge wires. Good Lord.
whale braille.
What are you trying to do? Tie down the tent at Cirque du Soleil?
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll do some voicemails or something. We'll be right back.
We'll
with
see you
more
tomorrow.
Corporate Time. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
You want to do some emails?
I do.
Some
I do.
Voicemails. Do an email.
Email. Hi, Tom, Dan, Sam, and Butler.
Yes.
My name is Colton, and I have been a longtime listener and recent BDM. I would like to do a segment on interesting business news around the world using sources such as the Wall Street Journal and New York Times.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
I would try to make it lighthearted while also interesting. Please let me know your thoughts. So this is someone trying to take you up on your
deal.
We've only had one person email us and say that they wanted to take you up on the offer of getting a segment on the show. It's from Colton. Colton was the only person that emailed me.
So you're interested in the business news.
Yeah. Colton's business review. Prime Mike, if you're
the
listening.
Colton
Bulletin.
Colton report?
The Colton report.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, let's do it.
Stone Cold.
I only do my business on the show, so let's. What day do you want to do this? Wednesday.
Do you have a number for Colton? Are we?
I have his email.
No, that's not going to work. I need a number.
We want to call him.
I want to prank call him.
Do the Colton business review
I want to
now.
prank call him right now. So what I'll do is I'll prank call him, and I'll yell at him, and he's like, "Who is this?" And I'm like, "Do your Colton report." Is this Dan? Do it. And then I'm yelling at him.
Yeah. And he's like, and he's getting his papers. And he's like, in today's Wall Street Journal, we're like, not good enough.
Back to EJ. The trick is just to find people that mentally and well, you gotta.
They're weak.
Yeah, they're weak. I wasn't going to say it. There's no other way to say it. The key to being a good radio show host is you find people that are weaker than you.
Yeah, damn it.
And then you make them think you like them.
Yeah.
And then you kind of you lure them in.
Yeah.
With fame, they got stars in their eyes.
But you beat them down, and that does that. What's that effect where you fall in love with your
Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah. They get a Stockholm syndrome where they actually you're like mean to them, and you
not to be confused with John Holmes syndrome. It's way different.
You embarrass them,
That's AIDS.
and that causes them to love you even more.
Yes.
And they're super loyal, but for no reason, because you don't pay them
But
anything.
then one day they do come to their senses, and they're like, this guy's never really liked me.
Yeah. But
Are you guys describing Butler? Right
No.
He's doing something to us.
Yeah. I don't know what his lawn con is.
Hypnotizing us.
Yeah, something's happening. I feel myself
You just
changing
do
every
anything
day.
you want, and then nothing with there's no.
Somehow he's convinced.
You don't really have any.
He comes in here and he just hangs out, and we just throw money at him. It's insane.
Yeah. I'm like, call the Rise and Grind company, and then forget, and then prank call, and then we're like, and then we'll forget to.
I love it. Then I'm like, then he comes in and
Jeremiah's like, I heard you do the prank call, but I just still never got a call. I'm like, oh yeah, we forgot. It actually happened.
How does this happen? I don't.
Like, quick, prank call Butler, and we don't call him.
How does this happen? So Butler leaves. He runs his errand. I prank call him. I laugh, and then when he comes back, I go, "Great job."
What did he do? He didn't do anything.
I was like, "You did an awesome job." All right, here
you got the goods.
You got the goods. You have the triple threat.
You know what? Half day today.
Yeah, everyone gets a half day.
I left again. Prank call.
Except for Samantha. Samantha, you stay here and count the. Why don't you count the koozies in the office? And once you're done counting them, count them again. You know that boss that just wants you to do stuff.
Yeah. Which is stupid, by the way, because you're like, what is that doing for you? Is that for you get some sort of gratification that they're here at work and they're at least doing something? They're wasting time.
Yeah. But you have to get them to do that. Let's try this one. It kind of ties in.
Okay, so apparently Butler likes to chop dandelions. I have a new thing kind of in the same vein. Since we moved to Florida, there weren't pine trees where I was from in South Texas. And so stepping on pine cones has become my favorite thing. If ever we're walking the dogs or something and there's pine cones, I like to step on them when they're nice and they've just fallen off the tree, so they're perfect and they crunch under your foot. Oh, it's so fun.
Typical chopper. We've got if you're a chopper like Butler, where when you're walking and you see something that you could break easily, and you just start either chopping it or punching it or novelty kicking it.
Yeah, stepping on it. Yeah.
If you're a chopper, leave us a voicemail message.
Yeah, tell us what you like to chop.
TOMNDAN. That's 1-844-TOM, the letter N, Dan, or you can use our app. I'm not a chopper, but I feel like if trained correctly, I could grow to love it.
Butler, get in here.
No.
I want to ask you a chopper
he's
question.
Mad.
Were you chopping on your errand?
I don't think he's ever going to talk to me again.
Butler, I'm curious because maybe Dan, you want to bet on this? Like, so a chopper, if he sees a kid's ball on the sidewalk,
kicks it all far as he can. Did I answer right?
Like, I would just walk around it, or step over it, or not even notice it. But a chopper, if a kid's ball's sitting there, he'll go and kick it as far as he can, right?
Oh yeah. Into traffic.
Is that the case?
Well, an advanced chopper would actually question if I could pop it first or if I can
pop it. We got it wrong.
Oh, okay.
He's right. He would probably try to destroy it, stab it with a knife or a pencil or something.
Okay, all right.
He's right.
Totally ruin it.
We don't know what we're talking about. He's the real chopper. Give me another chopper question.
Okay, now this is not really a Florida thing, but maybe up in Virginia you dealt with this.
Knock a kid snowman down?
No, well, snowman or icicle.
Oh, chop.
You chop the icicles.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Is that a reach?
Every-
You grab a broom,
Yeah.
or you start swatting them. You actually you stone cold stun every snowman you possibly can.
See, we got it wrong
Wrestling
again.
nerd.
Stone cold stunner. And then if you're walking out and it's a snowy, like a roof, you jump up and you slap it, and then all the roof snow falls on your friends.
Oh, yeah.
Slam the door really hard,
I call that America's Funniest Videos.
We'll never be as good as him at chopping.
Got another question. You're walking down the beach with
Looking
your wife,
mighty fine.
and no one around, but there's a pristine sandcastle
chop it.
that a kid had built. Now, it's not you. The kid's not around anymore. He built it. He
Right.
went home with his parents, but it's there. Everybody else is walking around it. What does the chopper do?
Oh,
Am
he
I on my one
stomps
wheel?
it.
Yeah, nails it on a one wheel.
Okay, yeah.
Here's
You
one
ride
more.
over it?
Here's
Well,
one.
it all depends. Is it a drippy castle or is it a sand castle? Drippy castle, kick all day.
I love a
What's
good drippy.
like the sand?
You take the loose sand and drips into like that.
Yeah, you've never heard a drip
Oh, the
castle?
drip castle.
I love a good drip castle. Here's another thing
Oh,
that a
looks like a
chopper
dong.
does. This is an advanced move, though. It does look like a lumpy dong.
Yeah.
Here's another advanced move for choppers. If you write your name on the beach, they will underneath it write "is gay."
Oh, yeah.
That's a guaranteed.
I forgot choppers are the ones that write in bathrooms
Thank
and things.
you. Yes, I don't support that. Look, you are what you are, and you should be damn proud of it, but they will write.
Yeah. I always wonder, like, I'm sitting there, and it's the worst case scenario if I'm sitting in a public restroom.
Well,
it's an emergency.
Here it's every morning is like 3, 4, 5 times.
And then I'm looking around, and then I see all the writing.
For a good time call.
Or just like...
A couple of swastikas up there. All kinds of crazy stuff.
Yelling and be a racist, or they'll be like, some your mama joke or whatever.
Sure.
I'm like, who is writing this? Who is this? Choppers, right?
Yeah, choppers.
Yeah. Choppers right in the
Standard choppers carry a Sharpie in their pocket so they can write chop.
Also, I think choppers sprinkle their pubes on the top.
The seat.
No,
on the bottom.
On top of a urinal. Because I always look on the top. Yes, sometimes
he's brought this up before,
and I'm like, "What? Who's doing this?
What they pulling it?
Yeah.
It's eye level, right?
I think it's a chopper. Yeah, there's no way it's floating up there.
You.
I think chopper.
Okay, Butler's laughing. Like
he's done it. He's done it.
You're on to us.
It's a secret society.
I like Butler gets his earpiece. He's like, he's flying dangerously close to the sun.
He found out about the pubes.
Cancel the Netflix.
We got a non-chopper on the choppers. We got a non-chopper on the choppers.
Yeah. And also, back in the phone book days, Butler's older than I am, so he knows. A chopper will definitely, ruin any phone book. Rip it out, some sort of wee-wee in there.
Wee-wee on the phone book. You never done the wee-wee on the phone book? Well, you can't, but you could.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you'll just ruin anything that's in front of you that's, like, for public use. Because
like, you're on the payphone, and when you're done, you smash the receiver as many times as you can until the earpiece breaks.
Or you put gum in it on the...
You put gum in the coin slot.
Yeah. Because, for every time you reach under something, a public place, and there's gum under there.
That's a chopper.
Yeah, choppers.
You're welcome.
Or boogers.
Yeah. It's all coming together now. Mm-hmm. It's basically the downfall of our society.
The choppers?
It's why we can't have good things, right?
Yeah, they chop them up.
Pretty much. Yeah. They're chopping, or they're stepping on it, or they're putting their gum on it.
Like every single sticker that a listener has stuck on the inside of the West End Trading Company in Sanford. Every single sticker that says Tom and Dan, somebody has either written are gay or are turds under every sticker, guaranteed. There's never been one just left. It's always been chopped.
Always. Choppers are doing that.
Always.
Probably our listeners, but they're choppers, so they can't help themselves. They actually
can't help the chop.
They like us. They're just they have to chop. It's in their nature. It's
can't do anything against. Can't change it.
You would have to literally put Butler in a straitjacket for him to not chop.
I think he can't control. I think he'd roll his body over whatever. Like if he's walking to the stranger,
stop biting it. I'm
chopping with his face. I'm like, you're gonna hurt your face.
You're biting all the flowers. I'm like, I'm digging it out of his mouth.
You gotta give him a Hannibal mask.
I think it's like a pit bull dog that's gone crazy on gunpowder or something. It's like at some point it becomes unchoppable.
Yeah.
It's unstoppable. Choppable. I mean unstoppable. It's unstoppable. Choppable.
Yeah.
Butler, you can hang out for this one because this is you're a genius in this area too.
Yo, BDM Neil here. Tom, I gotta say, you can't be Chong level until you can straight up smoke back-to-back J's. Because I could eat edibles and I'll also smoke you downtown. And I'll give you one dab and you'll fly off to the moon. And I'll be taking another dab after that. After I took a fat dab.
We all know those people, right?
Smoky downtown is something completely different in my world.
And I contend that, all right, you may be able to consume... Yeah, there's plenty of alcoholics out there that could drink a entire handle of Papa vodka and then drive and be perfectly fine. Yeah. Guess what? Your insides are rotten with alcohol and it's not getting you messed up because your liver stopped processing.
We never did our alcohol off, me and you.
No, yeah.
I still think I could drink you under the table.
I
better
probably...
get it done.
I'm become a lightweight kind of recently, but the same thing with THC. Like, so yes, I understand you could probably do 5 dabs and take 1,000 milligrams of edibles and stuff, but I contend that I'm actually getting higher than you are because your tolerance is so high that you probably can only
You're wasting.
Yeah.
What say you, Chopper?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I contend I get higher than Tom every single time.
We are doing ACT.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Chop. Oh, Sam's mad.
I'm sorry, Sam.
Go run another errand.
But I'm
there it is.
I guess
call me.
with getting high, it's kind of like people seeing the color purple. What you're seeing and I'm seeing could be the same purple, but minor
I
differences.
thought you meant the movie.
No.
Oprah is phenomenal.
I mean, so it's like, how do you describe a color? So, like, when you're talking about like getting maximum high or higher than Chong, like
it's your perception of how high you are.
So I'm thinking the Butlers because I don't think they're. It seems like a maximum high at the time. Like it's like anywhere beyond that, it would be
full
like
panic mode.
I get a headache or a panic attack or like fall asleep.
Right.
Like So it seems like there's a max. Same thing with drunk, right? There's like a level before you either black out or start vomiting, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you don't want to get there because so
too far.
Yeah. So I feel like the same thing with THC. Like there is a good, perfect level. Now it's that way to everybody.
I use my pork butt analogy. I think you can only, like, when you're smoking meats, there's only so much smoke
that it can absorb
before you're really at some point you're just going to end up wasting your wood.
Exactly.
If you got the wood to use, do it. I mean, it's
good analogy.
But if you pull it early, a lot of people you do the, what is it called, the Texas crutch. You wrap it in foil and you let it continue to do its thing, which is like kind of what Tom's saying. You've reached the highest you can get. You will get no higher. Might as well just ride that out.
Yeah, I feel like
I think that's probably accurate
because I could still take like a 10 milligram sativa from True Leaf pill, and it gets me high. I get feeling. And now if I take 2, it'll get me more. But 3, there's a diminishing return there. Like it doesn't get me double high than I was. It's just like a very incremental increase, or I just start getting like a headache or tired. Like
I know we do a lot of analogies, but it'd be like 1 is 1, 2 is 2, and then it'd be 3 is 2.2.
Yes, yeah.
4 is 2.8.
And then
and then 5 is I'm asleep.
Yeah. Or
it's like
is that the case? I mean,
I'd have to do it and then continuously remind myself to journal about it.
Yeah. It'd have to be an experiment.
Probably not going to do that.
Well, I just toot and ride it out. Like I don't ever like toot. Like, I mean, I just toot and ride.
Yeah. And then usually, what does it take? A couple hours, then you start getting
about an hour.
You re-up a little bit after that.
I might toot my pen a little bit more.
Same thing with beers. Like you want to get that buzz, but not the drunk because the drunk is sloppy.
Yeah,
and then you start feeling crap. Like
and you can't go backwards.
Like no. Like really. It's like 2 White Claw, and then it's really hard to replicate it after that because you already had the 2. So, like, even if you waited an hour, you have
then
another
you're
one.
Sleepier, and it's not the same.
So you only have a sweet. But is that like that with THC? Because I feel like when I first take THC, like I usually do it after the show when I get home or whatever, I'll take some THC, some sativa, and then the initial from sober to high, I feel really good. But then after that, like I can't ever get that really good feeling from sober to high again. Like once I'm already high, it doesn't ever get that much better.
That's kind of why I'm thinking about branching out into like illegal drugs.
Well, THC used to be illegal.
Well, it's legal now. And to be quite honest with you, I'm kind of bored.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard.
So I'm thinking
I got a line on some aim.
So I did beer and I did liquor.
Yeah.
And I've done marijuana, and I think
Let's
next
go
up,
ayahuasca.
No, that's a little too granola for me. I'm going
mushrooms?
Meth.
Oh,
yeah. They say I
have heard that a little bit of meth is good for you.
Well, it helps Tom.
Yeah, I can give you.
Amazing Jonathan said.
Well, he was just doing a little bit similar to Adderall. He was just doing like You know, I bet if I give you like 5 or 6 of my Adderall, you crush it up and snort it, you'll feel...
You don't need that much.
Would I feel one? If I took one right now, would I be like, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
What's it make me feel like?
More aware.
Like you're all of a sudden
energy.
Goddamn Superman.
Will it make me...
but then I don't even notice now.
Serious question.
Yeah.
Will it make me a long, hairy, and hard to carry big chopper?
My God.
Well, you got to mix in some testosterone. There's a good cocktail. Like you get some tea, some Adderall, some THC. That's all together. Oh,
that's got a speedball.
Superman. Yeah.
My favorite on the camping trips used to be Oxycontin.
Truthful.
I'm being truthful. Why?
Everybody laugh.
Look, man, this is always...
Well, yeah, I found it funny.
I like these two guys are like... I've always laughed at people being like, why would you say that? And I'm like, what? It's happened.
Yeah,
it's right. My favorite of the camping trips, I called it Cobra Plus.
Yeah.
It was Oxycontin, 2 to weed, ice cold cheap beer.
Yeah.
All 3 of those? Oh, my God.
Yeah. It's a one day.
It's the X Factor.
One day you don't wake up.
Yeah, well, no. Then one day you fall off the roof and die.
Yeah. Anyway, drugs, pretty good. I mean, you can't say they're bad. I mean, they're bad for you and kill a lot of people.
What are you going to need if you got COVID?
That's true.
You're going to need some drugs.
You need that... what do they go?
I think it's called marzipan.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say the other one that Trump was saying was good.
Quantum aquatic quail?
Quantum onomatopoeia?
Yeah, whatever.
I think it's
that word.
Onomatopoeia?
I didn't like that word. Like it was like
it's a weird word.
Moist. It was that word that I was like
hydroxychloroquine. Or
something. Yeah. I didn't like the
chloroquine.
I was like, I don't like it. It doesn't. Phonetically, it doesn't sound good.
I want to ride my bicycle.
We did too much recording.
Yeah, we're going crazy.
This is what
I just heard Queen, and I wanted to suddenly listen to a bunch of Queen now.
They're a good band. What happened with them?
A lot.
I mean, they're still around.
A lot.
No.
If you watch the movie, though, they cut out all the gay stuff.
Yeah. I saw the movie.
Especially if you live in a more repressed country, they don't want you seeing any of that.
No, is that why they did that?
I would say that they probably didn't show as much of that for financial reasons, which is kind of crappy.
You wanted,
cool.
They want
it should have been as accurate as humanly possible without offending.
I'm not sure why they did that.
It's probably Daniel's right. It's probably because nowadays you want to make a movie that's
you whitewashed it. But you took out reality.
It's a business thing.
Yeah, but they just. I mean, what's his name? Adam Lambert. Like, he's openly gay, and he's now the lead singer. So what's the difference?
Awesome. Yeah.
No, I mean, not for the band.
No, he's just saying for the global market.
Yeah, but they were a huge part of the movie. Like, they basically helped make that movie.
I know. But they also didn't talk about it to be successful. You know what I mean? Like
so, like if they're playing the movie in India and China and all these other countries that may be more
like
backwoods,
yes,
or because they want a global market now with movies. So it's
that happens a lot, man.
Why all the action movies and Marvel? Yeah, the other countries, they still,
they go in and they alter things so they can make extra money. We got to get out of here.
Yeah.
TomandDan.com for all things Tom and Dan. Great job, everybody, and we will see you next week.